and welcome into the Wheelhouse, your Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. Special guest host once again, Colin Zanker joins the program as we are here with you every Sunday morning. Colin, how are you enjoying the Arctic blast here in Denver?
There's always a few of these every year here in Denver, and I guess enjoying it would be an overstatement. My dog loves it. I do not. Give me the sun and the sand all day, but with this happening, it just reminds me, baseball, we're only a month away, less than a month away from pitchers and catchers. So, Arizona, it's going to be hot down there.
There you go. And we got a lot to get into this morning as well. We have obviously the NFL Divisional Round. The first two games are in the books. Who is joining those two teams after the second round of games in the Divisional Round commence today? And we will look ahead to tomorrow's national championship, if we even care about that, as well as it was a crazy day in the divisional round for the NFL. We will get into, the big topic is, of course, Kansas City getting aid, and this is the second or third year we've seen Dan Campbell cry at the podium. So there's a lot to get to. There is a lot to get to this morning. So a lot to dive into. Once again, don't forget to follow all of our socials: Facebook, X, Instagram, subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all of that nature. Don't worry about TikTok because you can't do that.
It's gone.
Though it was crazy though, because I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, and then I never really barely use it. So then I just pushed on it, and you can't do anything. But
yeah, I've never used it either. It's never been one of my things, but I did get a link to go watch some funny video on TikTok. It was like, you cannot watch this. This content is not available. I was like, what are you? And then I saw the news, so it's gone. Much like the Lions in the playoffs.
Yeah, he gone. So a lot to get into. Don't forget that this and some of the podcasts on the network brought to you by Pikes Peak Sports Cards. If you're ever in the Denver, Colorado Springs area, go down and check them out. They have card shows almost every weekend, as well as some sports memorabilia, some, I guess, pop culture memorabilia as well, if you are into that. So don't forget to go check them out. Check out their Facebook page as well. So all of the stuff that we talk about is always encapsulated in a segment we like to call Fire and Ice. So we will get into that right now.
It's now time for Fire.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
He's on fire.
I'm the only one a burning desire. Let me stand next to your fire.
And Ice.
Ice Cube, baby.
You're as cold as ice. Ice, baby.
All right, if you're new to the program, kind of a top three, who's hot, who's not, in the world of sports over the last week. As Colin, you are the guest this morning, so where do you want to kick it off?
I mean, we've already started with it. The ice. It's cold outside. My dog doesn't want to go out on his own, and the Lions, as much as they didn't want to get bounced from the playoffs, they got iced by the Commanders last night and Jaden Daniels. They could not do anything right. And, the trick plays, all the things that had worked for them all season did not work. I heard on my way home from helping broadcast the game, I heard a Lions fan calling in just frustrated beyond belief at what the Lions did in having a running back in Jahmyr Gibbs averaging, 8 yards a carry, and then having a guy in Jameson Williams throw a fake pass, or throw a pass. What were the Lions doing in this play calling? I know Dan Campbell's way, and it's worked, and it's been fun all year. But, man, that play calling, that game was really ice cold besides one quarter for the Lions.
Yeah, and you're going up against a guy who specializes in defense and Dan Quinn, so you're not going to sneak a lot by him. I know they got, I guess, that one quote unquote trick playoff when Teddy Bridgewater had to come in at quarterback for there for a few snaps. You know, they pull a reverse and a thing like that, and then like you said, Williams ends up with the ball and he runs it. Was it the
61.
yeah 61 yarder to the end zone?
Yeah.
I guess that was exciting for the Lions, and that was still a game at that point. But then Washington just kept pulling and pulling away. And shout out to the Commanders, their first playoff win. Well, how long has it been? 19 years.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah.
right.
So shout out to Washington for their first playoff win in 19 years, or whatever it was. Could be wrong on that one, but I mean, they just came out. They had an answer for everything on defense and on offense. So shout out to them. Shout out to Dan Quinn. And yeah, like I said, this is what, the fourth year we've seen Dan Campbell cry at the podium.
It's becoming
not talking about kneecaps. They're getting their kneecaps bitten off.
It's becoming a January tradition.
Yeah.
And the Commanders, you mentioned them. I mean, I know we'll talk about it more, but man, talk about exercising demons out there. Get rid of Dan Snyder, and then Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels come in and start to take things over for them. But for the Lions, like all of this talk about them losing also, now they're going to lose Ben Johnson. Aaron Glenn's probably gone also. They're going to get jobs somewhere. I don't know where they go from here or if they can continue this. And this is the third time that we have seen Jared Goff in a big game be ice cold.
Yeah.
For topic number 3, Jared Goff 3 times, Super Bowl twice, and then Super Bowl in last season. Excuse me.
Yeah, so it begs the question: do they enter the conversation of almost what the Buffalo Bills and Baltimore Ravens are in right now? Is really good regular season, win 14, 15 games, and then you just go down in the playoffs in a heap of fire. And Buffalo and Baltimore have yet to do that. We will find out today. I mean, one of them's got to go down. So we will see what happens today. But are the Lions entering that chat, Colin? Are they entering that, have a really, really good regular season, and then just kind of throw it all away literally in the playoffs?
I mean, I think you have to say that they're definitely in the lobby if they're not in the chat already. They're waiting to be let in. I think the thing is that still in this process, and yeah, we can talk about the injuries to that team. The biggest problem that I see for the Lions, like I said, is that Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, both of these guys came back this season after last year to get beyond what they did last season. They didn't take head coaching jobs elsewhere when they could have. But this year they're going to. This year I don't expect the same response. If they do stay with Detroit for unfinished business, then I mean put them at the top of my list next year as far as favorites, because I think that the injuries, hopefully those get better and you don't have that bad of luck. I mean, they had some terrible luck as injury-wise this season. Their defense was literally guys that were picked up from other squads, third, fourth stringers at times, and practice squad guys. So for them to hold it together like they did, I think was a sign of a good team and good team chemistry. But man, if they don't do it next year or at least advance further, like I said, there's going to be a lot of offseason. I think it's going to be one of those really good, fun teams to watch. And then the postseason comes and boom, they're the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah. And Vikings they're probably sipping coffee in that lobby as well with the Detroit Lions. So, yeah, I mean, again, close pretty much first half, and then just kind of all went downhill after that. So is this I know the NFL awards are not a playoff or as they say, a playoff award. But is this a foregone conclusion that Jaden Daniels is Rookie of the Year?
I believe that everything was voted on before
Yeah,
the
that's what I
playoffs. So, you know, I think that there's going to be a push for Bo Nix. I think there is going to be a part of that, but the way that the season ended, especially the 2 losses for Nix, and then the Commanders going on a 6-game winning, 5-game winning streak in the regular season and winning, and then obviously won these last 2. I think that really secured it for Jaden Daniels, and yeah, I think it's really a foregone conclusion that it's Jaden Daniels' award, and Nix is going to have to work a little bit harder next year.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I guess there's a tight end out in Vegas who might be clamoring for some attention too.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. All right, staying in the NFL playoffs this weekend. A lot of, it's almost out in the open now, Colin, about quarterback hits and sliding late. Even Tom Brady, the Fox commentator now says, they're sliding too late. They can't be running around and then, duke guys into hitting them as they're sliding. I mean, Troy Aikman blatantly bashing the officials yesterday, saying, and they did the KC game, Colin, and, the one where Mahomes, I guess, slid and then the 2 defenders barely hit him. They hit each other in the helmets. They didn't even hit Mahomes, and you can even hear Troy Aikman say, "Oh God, he's a run." Like it's almost getting just bare. And then you saw Mahomes run to the sideline and then literally stop, so he would get pushed out of bounds. He flopped worse than Manu Ginobili out of bounds, and good on the officials on that one because they didn't throw a flag on that, but. And then where Will Anderson basically just pushed him after he threw it, didn't really get any kind of head or neck area, just pushed him in the chest. I'm surprised Mahomes didn't go down on that, or did he? He might have went down on that one. I'm surprised he didn't flop on that one. And they called it unnecessary. I mean, it's just getting blatantly obvious. I mean, even when Jared Goff threw that pick 6, he got blasted like right in the chin, and they didn't call it. So I don't know. And that was almost worse as the 2 Mahomes hits combined. And Goff even had to go off and get checked out. That's when Teddy Bridgewater came in for a couple snaps. But it's just getting – even Troy Aikman said they got to look at this stuff in the offseason. And I agree with him. And it's almost weird coming from Troy Aikman and Tom Brady to call this BS. But you almost have to agree with them, right?
Yeah, I mean, you call a spade when you sit there and look, especially at the Mahomes slide, in air quotes if you're listening on the podcast. The slide was not even a slide. He ducked down, and you were right. You explained it exactly how the play went. The 2 Texans players hit each other more than they hit Mahomes. He was going down. They couldn't stop themselves from hitting him, and to give a penalty on that was a joke. For the quarterback hits, when they're sitting in the pocket, and the original intent of this was to stop the injuries to like the ACLs, to the shoulders. Obviously, the concussions are one with the hits to the head, but that's what it was to prevent. When these guys are getting out of the box and running or getting out of beyond the line of scrimmage, or even running outside of the box, they should be treated like other players, like running backs. You become a running back, you're gonna get hit, you're gonna take a pop, and I think some of that defense does need to come back in the game, that these guys aren't treated with kid gloves. When you're just barely tapped, like the Will Anderson one, then yeah, Will Anderson actually even said, I don't know if you saw this quote, he said that they had to beat 2 teams over the weekend beforehand, and it was obviously the refs and the Chiefs, and they did a pretty damn good job of beating the Chiefs. Now they beat themselves too. When you miss 2 field goals and an extra point, or get one blocked and miss one and then an extra point, you hurt yourself. But the the quarterback safety protocols have to be looked at. It's sickening. You're not watching football anymore. I don't know when the last time you saw a game was, Michael, that you're sitting there and you're like, oh yeah, well, that quarterback needs to be more protected. Like, do you remember the last time you said that about any game?
No.
I don't either, because you know what? They're overprotected. There was a time where you needed to give them some more protection. It's gone overboard.
Yeah. So see if we can pull this up.
Okay, I mean, I can continue on with it if you'd like. The one other thing I'd like to say with this is that when you're thinking about the running backs, or when you're thinking about the quarterbacks running, how many times have we seen Mahomes fake go out of bounds, then turn back in? I mean, Josh Allen does it. Lamar does it. Like, these guys have that advantage. You're giving an extra competitive advantage to some players they're very talented. And when they're that talented, they have the ability to do some things that other guys can't. And when you're going to punish the other team for trying to finish a play, it's stupid. It's asinine, really.
Yeah. So hopefully they do look at it in the offseason. You know, I don't. It's one of those double-edged swords. I don't remember what game it was. If it was the wild card round last week where a quarterback slid and somebody kind of dove right on top of him and hit him, led with the shoulder. I guess he tried to pull up. I'm trying to think of what game it was. They might have been I think it was the Broncos-Buffalo game, wasn't it? Where he led with his shoulder, still hit Josh Allen, and they called unnecessary roughness.
I think the second half, it was either that or it was the I think you were all right that it was.
But yeah, I mean, oh no, it was the defenseless receiver. That's another one. It was Josh Allen led his receiver into a very bad position. Yeah. And the last thing the defensive guy sees is the guy going, acting like he's going to catch the ball. He turns so he doesn't lead with his helmet, leads with his shoulder, hits a quote unquote defenseless receiver trying to knock the ball loose, and it gets called for a hit on a defenseless receiver. That's another one where you're just kind of like, how are you supposed to stop going full speed when the last thing you see is the receiver acting like he's, whether the ball's thrown over his head or not, I mean, he's still acting like he's going to catch the ball.
Well,
I mean, you have to wait for the guy to catch it and allow a 25-yard catch before you hit him.
Exactly. Yeah. You want the guy to catch the ball. Like, what does the NFL want? You want him to get the reception and then put the hit on him, make sure he catches the ball, and he safely has at least two fingers touching it before you hit him. No, Josh Allen, I remember the broadcast was even saying Josh Allen threw that ball and knew immediately that he put his receiver in a bad position.
Yeah.
That's Josh Allen's bad. The receiver, I understand you're going for the ball, but you also have to know that a defensive player is coming at you. So if you're going to dive, and I understand playing at full speed, if you're going to dive for it, you got to know someone's coming that way. And when I'm, it's not quite the same, but when there's a pop-up in baseball around the infield and I'm running out, or like a little Texas leaguer, I'm running out, I know the right fielder, center fielder, left fielder, one of those guys is coming in, we got to be a little cautious about how we go after it. Yeah. And
well, that's why you shot out. That's why you shot out. Got it. You got to communicate.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're gonna yell "got it" in the NFL.
No, not in the NFL. But going for a pop fly, yeah.
But you have to be aware of your surroundings, and that's for the defensive player, he's aware of what he needs to do. He's aware that he needs to he's aware that he needs to separate the ball from this receiver. For the wide receiver, they have one thing. They don't have to worry about these penalties. They don't. All they have to worry about is like, oh, well, I got to go out and try and catch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really unfair to defense.
Yeah. And like I said, it's weird hearing Troy Aikman and Tom Brady, two, for lack of a better term, decorated quarterbacks in their time, saying, this isn't fair to the defense. Like this, what are guys supposed to do? Quarterbacks quarterbacks are, again, for lack of a better term, tricking the defense into getting hit and then drawing a penalty. It's almost like the NBA, Colin, where you feel a guy really, really close to you, and it's one of those where you just throw up a shot because you're going to get the call, and they go to the free throw line. It's almost the same where you feel a defensive guy running at you if you're a quarterback, and you get rid of the ball, you're going to get hit, and you try to draw a penalty. That's almost what it's coming down to.
Yeah, and the NFL is too big to fail. It's not going to people aren't just going to stop watching because of these calls. It's going to frustrate us. We're going to continue to talk about it. It doesn't have the NBA problem of, all this flopping and egregious plays that are just miscalled, and that make the game bad. But this does make the game worse.
Yeah, because it's just the question: what are you supposed to do? Just not hit people and let them complete passes, let them run around, let them pick up yardage, let them score touchdowns. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, and then we'll never, when we're talking about this, it was only 8 years ago where the Broncos defense was so great. Can a defense like that happen again? The Broncos defense was good, but man, people were scared to go up against these guys. Is anyone scared of any of the defenses really right now? I know Pittsburgh had some moments this year, but no one's really afraid of anybody out there. And there were guys, we can go back obviously to old Broncos days and guys like Steve Atwater, and not just Atwater. There are a lot of guys around the NFL. There was John Lynch, there was the Legion of Boom. There are a lot of defenses, Ray Lewis, that just would hit the crap out of you, and you would not want to play against them. You would be afraid to play them. And that fear is gone from all of these offenses because it's swayed too much to the other side. I understand that offense gets ratings and and views and touchdowns and stats. Those are all things, but got to have a little bit of defense, or else we might as well just, play 11-on-5 and leave some guys open because you're not going to be able to touch them anyways.
That's what I said. Just give the quarterbacks flags at this point.
Yeah.
They don't even have to wear a helmet, really.
Yeah, who needs any new helmet technology and the guardian caps and everything like that if they're just not going to get hit anyways?
Yeah, so just give them flags. I've been saying that for years now.
Could you imagine how great it would be if Patrick Mahomes had a flag malfunction in the NFL playoffs with a flag falling off on an important down, and they lost the ball because of it and lost yardage and missed a field goal?
No,
and
they would. They would stop playing and be like, "Hold on, it's Patrick Mahomes. It just fell off. Redo the down.
There was a technical error.
Yeah.
The flag
it was
fell
our fault.
off.
It was our fault.
Jared Goff, that's all your fault, Jared.
Yeah.
You knocked it off yourself.
You didn't connect it right.
I think that would be. Oh man, I could see, and the sad thing is we could see that happening.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just gotten bad. There's really no other way to put it. So we will see if and when your boy Roger will look at this and be willing to fix it. I guess I don't know what you do to fix it. You just limit the penalties. Can you make some of these things reviewable? I don't know what you do, but can a team challenge a defenseless receiver hit, a hit on a quarterback? Is that the question? Can they or should they become challengeable? I know that takes up time to go look at it, but now this is one of the first years, Colin, we're seeing, after replay assist, he was short of the line, of first down marker.
Yeah.
So we're kind of already seeing it where they're getting the call in right away from replay assist.
I think that if you do have that as part of the NFL, it has to be from New York. It has to be someone else. It has to be someone independent of the game. Because obviously the refs they're not going to change their mind. We saw that when they tried to reverse the pass interference penalties or have that challengeable pass interference. One got turned over all season long.
Yeah.
that's an absolute joke. So the NBA, oddly enough, the NBA they've done a pretty good job with their replay. I feel like more often than not, their replay, those guys do get it correct. There are some mistakes still, and we can expect that. I can accept some mistakes. I have no problem with a few mistakes. It happens. I get it. But for the most part, the NBA on their reviews, I think they've done a pretty good job at encapsulating or making a very clear distinction of what the rules are for those reviews. So, yeah, maybe they do need to have that, and everything is in New York if it's going to be a penalty or not for that. But yeah, I think you can only do it on, how wide you open it up.
Yeah.
I think you got to rein it back in on what these quarterbacks are allowed to do or get away with.
Yeah, and you mentioned the NBA replay. It's funny because, some coaches will be like, no, it's a really blatant missed call, but they can't challenge it because there was a foul that the referee missed. So they'll be like, yeah, the ball was out of bounds on so-and-so, but this guy also fouled him. So now we're going to call a foul on that guy rather than the ball being out of bounds. So they're able to not only change the call, but they're able to like add a call, so to speak, and say, no, he was fouled before the ball went out of bounds. So he's going to the free throw line. So I almost like that aspect of we missed this call, but we also missed that call. So we're going to kind of fix both calls. And he was fouled. The ball went out of bounds, but he was fouled before that. So we're calling a foul instead of the ball going out of bounds. So not only are they fixing the play, they're almost catching something else they missed, which I kind of like.
Yeah, I really do. And I think I think I was just laughing because I think it would be so funny to see a guy like Mahomes get some sort of roughing the passer penalty, and then a phantom holding call get called on the same play that offsets it, and just redo the down.
There was also holding and flopping on the quarterback.
Illegal man downfield, flopping. All penalties offset, replay, second down.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I said, I think the NBA has actually done a really good job with it. Some things still are going to be wrong.
Oh yeah.
And that's something we have to accept.
Is this the first year of it? Second year?
I think with the expanded replay, and like you were saying, with the foul, being able to call a foul on something that was going on, not just the play itself. It is the first year that they've done that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's always going to be tweaks and stuff that need to be made, and it's like the NFL. If you get the challenge right, you keep the challenge, you keep your timeout. You lose a challenge, you lose the challenge, and you lose a timeout. So there's obviously punishment and there's consequences, but also there is a reward for. It's almost calling out an official like, "Yo, you missed the call." I mean, I wonder how annoying officials get by going to review plays like, "Oh yeah, we effed this up."
Yeah, I think they do obviously get annoyed. You never like to make mistakes. But I think the NBA knows and has preached to these guys that them getting the correct call is more important for the game than it is for them to be right.
Yeah.
And some of them still have big egos, and there's going to be arguments and there's going to be fights. But, I think that overall, the bigger picture, the NBA sees what it needs to do. And the NFL doesn't. The NFL, like I said, they're God's gift to sports. They're going to rule all. Nothing is going to take them down ever. And they can do whatever they want, it seems. And, that includes us sitting here arguing about bad penalties on plays that should never have, they should have just been lined back up right away. That's really what should have happened.
Yeah. And then they were talking about give kudos to the refs for going and changing the play, picking up the flag and saying there was no penalty for so-and-so on this. And I think I've only seen that or heard that a couple times, but I mean, do we need to see more of that picking up plays where I mean, do the officials wear like an ear thing where it'd be like, hey, that's not a penalty, pick up the flag?
See, that's what I'm not sure of. I'm pretty sure they just get buzzed when New York is reviewing something, and then maybe they turn the earpiece on. But yeah, there has to be something that says pick up that flag. I mean, there has to be something.
Yeah.
We did see a flag get picked up in the Broncos game too, though.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. But I haven't seen or heard of too much of that. And again, not watching all 16 games a weekend, just a select few here and there. But I haven't heard or seen much of it in those, I guess, games. So
much more often, it's a bad penalty called than a bad penalty picked up. That's what happens more often.
And get rid of the holding calls and whatever, hands to the face that don't even that are 20 yards away from where the ball is and not even affecting the play. Get rid of those.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
His hands was in his face, but or he held on the right side. The ball is 50 yards downfield on the left side. It had zero effect on the play.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah, I agree.
And for a fat lineman running down the field, who cares? Like
he can't catch the ball anyway.
Who cares? How is he supposed to know? How is a lineman supposed to know that the play has already passed him? He's just downfield blocking. Like who cares?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Little Giants play in a way. You just let them all start. You start running on defense. You fall down and let them go.
Yeah,
and then they'll get downfield too far, and it should be a penalty every play. Just play them.
Who cares if they're 10, 15 yards past the line? Who cares? Who cares? They're not gonna do anything.
Oh,
Stupid.
Speaking of caring, I've got an icy take for our last one that we might not like that I've been thinking of.
Uh-oh.
I think Bo Nix and the Broncos might just be the Jim Kellys and the Dan Marinos of this draft. I think Bo Nix, with the quarterback talent that's out there right now, with the teams that are there, he's good. But man, I don't know if he's going to beat any of these quarterbacks. I see a bright future, but I don't know if it shines as bright as some of these other guys. For the Broncos, I think Bo Nix might be a really good guy and a beloved guy in the city, but I don't think he's going to be revered around the league.
But would you accept going to 4 Super Bowls in a row and losing them?
No, I would not. You see the pain that puts Buffalo through even to this day. I mean, every time they're in the playoffs, they're trying to break this. 4 straight Super Bowls, that would be fun. But, or the Dan Marino part. You make one and you never go again. You barely sniff the playoffs a lot of years. I'm worried that Bo Nix is going to get iced out of, and those are great quarterbacks. And I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but I'm worried that Bo Nix is going the way of just being kind of one of those forgotten guys in any of the elite conversations because of the other quarterbacks that are around, because the other young quarterbacks, because how they're playing and the era that he's playing in. I'm not sure that Bo Nix can match what some of these guys do.
Well, to his credit, he was only one of 2 rookie quarterbacks to make the playoffs this year. And the other one, obviously, we just saw put on a show in Detroit. But also, you mentioned, is anyone fearing defenses? Washington's defense had 5 takeaways. So I don't know if you put them into that fear category, but I'm sure Philadelphia and or the LA Rams are looking ahead saying, man, we got to tighten our stuff up because and I get it. It's Jared Goff. I don't know how much stake you put in that. Maybe take that with a grain of salt. But still, Jared Goff has been playing pretty well over the last few seasons in Detroit. So I don't know if you put them in the fear category. But like I said, only 2 rookie quarterbacks made the playoffs this year. And I don't know how much you put on. You look at the offense of Washington compared to the offense of Denver. How much do you put that on Bo Nix? How much do you put it on play calling? Everyone praises you again. bring back the defense conference. Everyone praises the Denver defense when they let them down multiple times this season in games they should have won. And, dumb penalties like we were talking about. So I don't know. I think the jury's obviously still out after year one.
But I mean, to the counterpoint to what you just said is that the Washington defense caused turnovers, but then what did Jaden Daniels do with it?
That's what I mean. That's what I'm
Bo
not saying.
Bo Nix, like the Broncos, they caused turnovers. They caused short fields. They had, they were the Broncos had the third most 3-and-outs in the NFL this year. I know part of it's Sean Payton. Some of it's Bo Nix, some of it's the offense. I just sit here and I fear that Bo Nix might be maybe I'll do another name that's a little bit more recognizable. Jake Plummer in Arizona. Jake Plummer was beloved. He brought them to the playoffs. He got them their first ever playoff win as the Arizona Cardinals. He was beloved in Arizona, but he could never get past those other really good quarterbacks. Maybe Bo Nix is much more Jake Plummer than John Elway. And I love Jake Plummer. I do. But was he a Super Bowl quarterback? I mean, obviously not. They didn't make it. They had the championship game against the Steelers that they got the floor wiped with. I'm just getting this feeling that he's good, but I don't know if he has that in him, that ice, the ice running through his veins to win a game, to go lead a team. Now, maybe you can put a supporting cast around him and win it with a great defense, a great running game, and all those things, and have him be much more of a game manager. But we haven't really seen game managers win Super Bowls here as of late.
Yeah, and again, how much do you put that on him? How much do you put that on the play calling? They were up against a tough task against Buffalo anyway. It was a close first half, say what you will. A lot of drop passes. I don't know if they would have won if all those passes were caught. I don't know. But or is it just Sean Payton holding back the playbook? I mean, is it too technical for Bo Nix? You saw when they aired down the field, plays happen, and they stopped doing that after the first quarter. And, you're down 2 scores, start of the fourth, and you're still running the ball when time is not on. Is it play calling? Is it Bo Nix? Is it not calling certain plays because of Bo Nix? There's probably a lot of factors that go into it. But when you're down 2 scores in the fourth, Colin, just let it rip. Who cares? you throw 2 interceptions. Who cares? You're down by 2 anyway. Just throw it.
Yeah, and I agree.
And the dink and dunk offense, the 5-yard screen pass, the 5-yard screen passes on like 2nd and 12s are dumb. Again, is it the play calling? Is it because Bo Nix is limited that you're not calling certain plays? I don't know. But I think the jury's still out after year one.
But I think you could honestly look at, those teams, even those Buffalo teams, and there was a lot of bad luck in some of those in Miami and some of those squads. And I just say that because that was a great quarterback class, what were their issues there? Like what happened there with their teams? There's a return touchdown, there's return touchdowns, and there's, Don Beebe running a guy down to get, knock the ball out of his hands. Like there's some plays and some things that happened in those games too. Like, was that just on Jim Kelly? Was that just on Dan Marino for not doing it? Was it on only Jake Plummer for not continuously making the playoffs in Arizona? I just, like I said, I get the sense with this draft and where the NFL is. I don't know. I don't think Knicks can get to that level. I think, like I said, I think he could be good, but you're right. It's going to take a surrounding cast and to really help him, because maybe he's much more Bernie Kosar than John Elway.
Yeah. Denver fans.
You might hate me for it. I know you hate it. Sorry. That's why it's a nice take. It's cool.
I think the jury's still, I think it's a little unfair to go that far after a rookie season, but who knows? Yeah, and even Minnesota, would they have been where they are if McCarthy's playing?
Don't know. Really, I mean, that's going to be a tough one. I didn't really believe in McCarthy either, so I highly doubt it. But definitely not 14 wins.
I mean, no, I don't think anyone expected
I
Sam
highly
Darnold
doubt
to
they get 14 wins.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
anyone expected. Yeah,
But
I don't know. We'll
but
see.
that's
I think jury's still out. Jury's still out. All right, what I want to add this to the ice list real quick.
Just a bit outside.
The MLB world lost another legend, so to speak, in Bob Uecker, and obviously not a Milwaukee Brewers fan. Could care less about the Brewers, but he was the broadcaster there, play-by-play guy for so many years, and everyone knows him for his role as Harry Doyle in the classic Major League films, and that's what that clip was from. Honestly, I remember him more from Major League than I do in the major leagues, if that makes sense. But the MLB world did lose another legend. Added to the the list with Ricky Henderson and so on. So, I mean, I don't know what your memory is of him, but all of mine are from Major League.
Yeah, I mean, everything's really for Major League, and then obviously interviews. And I mean, I love that movie. It's still one of my top few movies that I would say, especially a baseball movie. I mean, you have Field of Dreams, you have Sandlot, and you have Major League. Those are up there. I know, like I liked Bull Durham, but it was never like I never enjoyed it as much as I did Major League. They're like I said, they're great baseball movies, but every time you turn that on, it's too high. What do you mean it's too high? And I know that's not his line, but man, it was such an iconic character, and I'm excited that I get a chance to go out to Milwaukee this year to watch a game, watch the Rockies play them out there. It will be I'm sure that there will be some memoriam stuff for him, but the thought that there's no chance of even walking around and running into him kind of saddens me.
Yeah, like you said, just all the quotes and stuff like that from that movie, and maybe we should have did like a top 5 baseball movie list in his honor. But yeah, definitely Major League is always up there. And don't watch it like on TNT where they edit it out. It's so stupid. Yeah, you got to watch the uncensored, the undrafted uncensored version of Major League, because it's just so much better. Where he's trying to find the post game notes, he's like, this post game is brought to you by the hell with it.
Who the hell cares?
I can't find it. The hell with it.
We lose again.
Yeah. He says, what? I think he says one more goddamn thing, and then the other guy's like, you can't say goddamn on the air. He's like, don't worry, nobody's listening.
Yeah, no one's listening.
Like yeah. Great.
Great you cannot watch the TBS or TNT version. You got to watch. Get it on demand. Pay $1. Maybe I'll pay $1 on this snow day here.
Yeah, with streaming and everything, it's somewhere. It's out in the universe. All right, let's move on to the fire list. Kicking it off with a preview of tomorrow, Colin, and that is the national championship. I want to say, and maybe just because I'm not paying attention, almost quiet national championship. I don't know. I'm not watching any of the sports shows on TV, so I don't know what's being said about it. All I know is it's Notre Dame versus Ohio State. Could care less who wins. Could care less what's going on. The start of the college football playoff was a little exciting. I'm glad they switched things up and did sort of went that route. Obviously, there's, again, tweaks that need to be made after a first year of trying something new in a sport, because let's face it, sports are so big that when you make a change, Colin, it's going to be scrutinized, it's going to be praised, but there's always tweaks that are going to need to be made. So we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, are you looking forward to this game? Is it something? I know we're bet placers. Are you placing any bets on this? What's going on?
I mean, I haven't placed anything yet besides, as you mentioned, on our undrafted uncensored. We picked the game the other day, who's going to win it. I chose Ohio State. They're kind of on a roll, but they've been known to lose some big games, obviously, like Michigan at the end of the season, one of the things that they were scrutinized for. Notre Dame has been on a tear. They're huge underdogs in this game. I believe they are plus 380 to win this game, and I don't blame them because Ohio State has looked really good. Am I looking forward to it? Yeah, because on Monday night, what else am I going to watch now that the NFL is done? I think that college football, they did okay. I think they need to tweak it some more because what would be ideal would be if they could. I don't know how they could make this happen, but they need to make it happen during the Pro Bowl, the championship game. They need to make it that weekend. I mean, I get the Monday night standalone game. There's still going to be a lot of eyes on it. There has to be some sort of tweak, I think. I don't know how they could push it out because I mentioned it earlier. NFL is king. You're not going to have the same eyes and the same talk unless it's an Alabama, unless you force an Alabama down our throats, unless you force a California team down our throats. If Texas would have been there, we probably would have heard more about it. I'm looking forward to it, but not as much as the NFL playoffs. So I don't know. Has your eye been way more on the NFL than that?
Yeah, I mean, totally the same. I have zero dogs in any of these fights. I think I mentioned this last week, Colin. I want to see like a Washington. Well, it's too late. This is before Houston got hosed, but I wanted to see like a Washington-Houston Super Bowl. And again, that would have probably been a boring Super Bowl for a lot of people out there because they're not, again, like you said, forcing Alabama. They're not forcing Kansas City down our throat or Buffalo or all these teams that have been choking since Hector was a pup. And I was hoping for like a Washington-Houston. I mean, like I said, I like the parity in college football this season, and it's not in Alabama. It's not one of those SEC schools like you said, Texas or Alabama or one of those teams. It's an independent school pretty much in Notre Dame, and a Big Ten school in Ohio State. So that's kind of cool. I like the parity in that, and that's what the college football playoff did was kind of filter kind of that same old, same year, same team story. So I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, and it gave more teams an opportunity. I know week one or the first weekend of those play-in games or the playoff games were blowouts, but the NFL was also. And you're going to have blowouts when some teams are just overmatched. And I think that's what we look at. I don't think anything is – I think what people wanted was March Madness from this tournament. And you're not going to get that. It's much more difficult in a game like football to have a March Madness, but it's going to be much more difficult to make that happen in football than it is in basketball.
Well, you don't have to throw 116 teams in the tournament. I mean, you could get up to 100. You can get up to, I don't know. I think I mentioned this. I don't know if you were on, who was on with me at the time, where I said the top 25 is so important. Ranking these teams top 25 is so important. Do a 2014 bracket and have that number one seed have a first round bye or something like that. I mean, you could add more teams to this. And I get it. It's football. You can't play every day. You can still do it every week or it is the playoffs where they do games on Monday through Friday. You can do something like that to where it still filters out teams because, a lot of people like the college football playoff, but again, the selection process gets scrutinized because a lot of teams, why is SMU not in it? And then they get their doors blown off. I mean, there's always going to be scrutiny towards whatever, like I said, sports, when they make a change, it's going to get scrutinized. It's going to get praised. But again, maybe they'll tweak it. We'll see what the tweaks are next season. But they took a step in the right direction.
Well, and my take is that even if you do expand the college football playoff, you're still not going to have that March Madness Cinderella story that happens nearly as often as it does in men's basketball. Like that just isn't going to happen because of the game of football. In the basketball world, you can have a team that gets just, I mean, molten hot, and a team that is ice cold in one game. But that molten hot team can ride that streak through a whole weekend and catch the attention of the country. Whereas in college football, you have to win that one game. Yeah, you can have an underdog win another game, but then you have to keep up that momentum for another week throughout all of the naysayers and everything like that. Those guys can go out there and just play the next day or after one day.
Well,
and it also in basketball, one guy can control the whole thing. I mean, think about Jimmer Fredette and BYU and what he did for that squad, like, and how he pushed them, like Steph Curry and Davidson. Like, there are individual guys who can take over games in the NFL and in college football. You don't have an individual guy like that in that sport that can take it over. And that's why you're never going to have the same feeling as March Madness or the same Cinderella stories.
I never said you were going to get the same feeling as a March Madness, but I mean, with the college football playoff, you're lessening who cares about the Hewlett Packard Technology Bowl? Like, who cares about that bowl? Instead of all these stupid pointless bowl games, again, expand the playoff table. Because with the college football playoffs, the bowl games are irrelevant.
Yeah,
they're just irrelevant. And I know they did, the semifinals. They still call it the Peach Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, and they're calling tomorrow the Rose Bowl or whatever. They're still going to have a bowl title. But again, maybe you eliminate the conference championship games and just that's when you start this playoff or something. Because
I was going to say, I think that's a good first step because we saw what conference champions did in this college football playoff.
Yeah.
No wins.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's a step in the right direction. I could still care less about Notre Dame, Ohio State, but it is, I do like the parity in it. I mean, at least it's two different teams.
Yeah. No, true. Very true. I mean, I think it's good to have the different teams, even though these aren't really, like I said, the underdog teams. I think that the football got better after the first weekend. So I'm excited to see what happens in the future, but you're right. I was on the show with you when you said that, and it does need to expand. I think the 25 plan, I haven't done all the math, but I think it would be nice to have those other teams in there because, as you said, top 25 is so important. You might as well make it important at the end of the season.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. All right, moving on. Next on the fire list, Colin, this was something I was excited for since the announcement, since the so-called draft, I guess, back in November. But the Women's Unrivaled League debuted on Friday night, and it was pretty cool to see, Colin. I'm not going to lie. There's only 6 teams in this whole thing. It was co-founded by Brianna Stewart, by Nafisa Collier, Alex Morgan, the soccer player, she was a part in this as well. So just a lot of big names investing in this and a lot of big names playing in this. I don't know if you caught it. The games are being broadcasted on TNT, True TV, but also if you have HBO Max, the Max app, you can also catch the games on there. The one thing I will say, there's just so much space being 3-on-3, Colin. I guess that's what the NBA gets criticized for, even playing 5-on-5, just so many 3-pointers being chucked up, and that's what you're seeing in this as well. So I do like how it's full court, though. I don't like, for some reason, 3-on-3 being played half court like in the Olympics and stuff like that. It's just, I don't think you have enough space and time and stuff like that to set up plays, to have strategy, stuff like that. And maybe that makes it harder. I don't know. But full court 3-on-3, I think, is way better than half court 3-on-3. A lot of space to operate. The only thing I said I don't like is just so many 3-pointers being chucked up. But I mean, what are you going to do if you're wide open?
I mean, I was gonna say you don't like 3-pointers getting chucked up, but you do like Skylar Diggins hitting a game-winning three to open up the weekend. It's one of those. When it is 3-on-3, you're going to create that, and you're going to have more of those shots because you also have more of an opportunity for a rebound. You don't have 4 defenders clogging the paint. So I think it's a good format. I think that it's going to be interesting to see how this gets picked up and who plays in this league, because can you do the WNBA and Unrivaled? Can you how long could you do that for? How consistently could you be playing all year long? But one thing I think that is great is that it is another avenue of revenue for women's sports. And hopefully it can, something can catch on, more and more, because I think there's plenty of space, and it should be done where you just have this accessible to more people. So give an opportunity, let people get out there and watch it. I hope that Unrivaled has some sort of, don't bite the hand that feeds you rule amongst their players and coaches, not talking crap about the person bringing in the most money or the team that's bringing in a ton of money and helping it be available. I'd love to see some of the WNBA players talk about how, U.S. women's soccer brings all the money in for us, and U.S. women's soccer is crap or something like that. Like, the WNBA created a lot of drama this year that I really didn't like and put me off to it. I mean, trust me, I still watched some of it. I didn't watch a ton, but I definitely watched some more than I had in the past. And that's a Caitlin Clark effect. Will Unrivaled be able to build up some of that anticipation? I hope so.
Yeah, and even Lisa Leslie, who's the color commentator for these games, said she would have loved to see Caitlin Clark in this. And, and she even touched on the 3-pointers. She probably wouldn't even cross half court. I think it is a shortened court, by the way. I don't think it's a true full court. Not
it's like
regulation
80% or something.
Yeah, so she would be chucking up 3-pointers before she even crosses half court. But I don't want to say I'm a little surprised that she's not involved in this somehow. I know she's enjoying, she played a lot of basketball over a year span last year, so I'm sure she needs a break, wants a break, enjoying a break. But, I mean, what would the Caitlin Clark effect have on this new league? I mean, all the spotlight obviously is going to be geared toward her either playing. I don't know if she was even approached to help invest in this. I don't know what the talks behind the scenes are, but were you a little surprised that she was no way involved in this, at least this first season of it?
No, you said it already. The amount of basketball she played in this last year, and even her talks at the Olympics about the time off and how good it was for her. And we saw the second half of the season after the Olympics, what she did. She was good in the first half, but she was great in the second half of the season. And I think she understood what was going on and needed that time after coming off a college national championship run with Iowa, and then going straight to the WNBA. That was like 2-3 weeks later that they started after she was drafted after the college season ended, and then playing a full season. The only break.
Yeah, you have March Madness and then the WNBA.
Yeah, so she didn't have a break. So what I will say is that I'm not surprised that she's not there this year. Wait till next year. Next year, maybe 2 years, but wait till next year. She comes in, and the influx of fans and money that's coming in, because as you said it, everyone wants to see her hitting those half-court shots. Everyone wants to see that, right now the greatest women's player playing. So I think next year, after she's had this time off this season, kind of recovered, she'll go through this WNBA season. And you know what? Maybe, the Unrivaled, they might just offer her an exclusive contract with all of this money and say that she will get the Michael Jordan treatment.
Yeah, and it kind of depends on.
You will be the brand.
Yeah, and it kind of depends on the people who helped start this league. Is women like Brianna Stewart and Afisha Collier, do they have any type of grudge against Caitlin Clark? Because they're one of the two of the big name WNBA players who helped start this league. Do they have that grudge that we saw so many players have over this last WNBA season? Like you said, will they bite the hands that feed them? Brianna Stewart's been good for many years. Nafisa Collier has been good for a few years. But will they be willing to open that door, Colin, and say, hey, do they look past that whatever that is, that jealousy, that grudge, whatever it is, do they look past it and say Caitlin Clark is once again going to fill our pockets like she did this last season?
I mean, if they want to be successful at business, then they have to. Sometimes to be successful, you have to work with people you maybe don't like. Now, you don't always have to do that. You can be successful working with just people you like, but sometimes there are companies and places and things that you have to use to make your business successful. Maybe you don't like Walmart, but you know what? If you need a piece of product for a demonstration that's going to bring in to your company a multi-million-dollar contract and Walmart has it, you're going to go get it, right? If you don't like what Caitlin Clark is doing, then yeah, you can watch your league fail. One thing, we go back to the NFL and the other spring leagues. When all of these leagues were trying to be opposite and competing with the NFL, we saw what happens. We saw that they weren't successful. They went under because they tried to poise themselves as something not NFL-like. You know what? You might not want to be the NFL. You might want to have some different rules. But I think that the spring football was pretty damn successful last year, and I'm looking forward to the AAF again this year.
Yeah, so we will see what happens there. Again, the season Unrivaled kicked off Friday, continued yesterday. It'll pick up tomorrow, so they'll have today off and pick up tomorrow. All these games being played down in Miami so far, and it'll be the Vinyl and Phantom tomorrow, and then the Laces and the Lunar Owls. What do you think of the team names? I feel like they're simple, stuff like that. I think they could have been a little bit better. The Phantom, the Laces, the Lunar Owls, the Rose, the Vinyl. What do you think of the team names?
They're okay. Nothing stands out, but I think some of them have to grow on you. And I misspoke. I meant the UFL, not AFL. But I think that I do like them just playing in Florida. I like that because going back to kind of the UFL and everything like that, they played all their games in two places. I believe two places for 1 year before they combined with the XFL. And I like that they're having it just start your fan base. Start it. Don't try and go too big, especially with the, we can't make any joke. There's the proof is in the pudding. Besides every 4 years, women's sports just don't get enough content. They don't get enough eyes on them. And so you're going to have to grow it. You just can't throw it out to every place because it's not going to stick everywhere. So I like that. Uniforms, I'm just like kind of pulling up some of the uniforms right now. The names, like I said,
simple like the names. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we'll see. I think it'll pull on, but I'm not quite sure what a lunar owl is. I'm guessing it's just an owl that flies at night. Might be big in British Columbia or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think they're okay. I don't think they're crazy. Probably Phantom is the best one in my opinion. But what is the Phantom?
I thought Phantom would be the team to beat in this league with Sabrina Ionescu and Brittany Griner and players like that. And they got their doors blown off yesterday by the Laces. So we will see how they move on. Like I said, the games continue tomorrow, and then it'll pick up Friday. So I think they're only playing like 3 days a week. So it's really not being forced down your throat, Colin. but just enough to give you a taste, we'll say. So those games again
I
pick
was
up
gonna
again
say
tomorrow evening on TNT.
you could say the laces untied the Phantom.
Yes, yeah. Phantom need to tie their laces before they play next week.
They didn't belong on the court.
Yeah, there you go. All right, our last item on the fire list, we kind of touched on it before, but two teams are in the respective championship games. We mentioned the Kansas City refs. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs are in, and I guess no surprise there. I don't know. And then the Washington Commanders, again, props to them. They knock off the number 1 seed, 15-win Lions. I don't know how mighty their roar was, but the Commanders go in on the road, rookie quarterback. We touched on it, and now the question is, who is joining them in their respective championship games? Is it going to be the Eagles or the Rams in the NFC, or is it going to be the AFC teams? And these are going to be, I think, wild games. And the AFC teams, obviously, Buffalo and Baltimore, like we touched on earlier. Two teams again in that great regular season. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, MVP discussion, and then come playoff time, they're sitting at home after the wild card round or the divisional round. So, who do you see joining the Commanders and the Chiefs?
It's Commander Chiefs. Yeah, I got that. The rough part was with the Commanders winning yesterday is that it always feels like there's one team that kind of surprises you. There's not typically two, and I've had my money on the Rams for a while now, and I'm kind of feeling like cashing out because of the Commanders win. I know it has nothing to do with the Eagles and Rams game, but it just feels like, can you have the Commanders and the Rams in there? Is that really gonna happen? Man, I mean, when you have the Kansas City refs, as you said, making it, and the NFL wants certain things, I don't really know if they want the Rams and the Commanders playing each other to go to the Super Bowl. So
that would be a game I would watch.
I mean, I would love to watch it. My heart is I want the Rams. My heart and my money is on the Rams. But I feel like Philadelphia is going to win it, but I'm going to choose the Rams anyways. And in the Bills and Ravens game, I mean, this is the last time that I'm picking Josh Allen. I mean, give me Josh Allen. You've proven you can do it with all of these guys. Maybe Josh Allen is the next John Elway, just getting there with ragtag teams. But yeah, I'm not. I'm pretty sure that I got to take the Bills. I like the Bills and the Rams today. I just think the Philly and the Rams game is going to be. I think that's going to be a phenomenal. I think they're both going to be phenomenal games.
So, did you say who you got between? You think Buffalo's taking that?
Yeah.
Where is that game? In Buffalo, right?
It's in Buffalo.
Yeah. I don't know. The AFC, I hope they both lose somehow. I know that's not possible, but I hope the AFC, whatever AFC team, I hope there's no AFC team that makes the Super Bowl. Is that possible?
It could be. It very well could be.
I know, yeah.
No.
I
they all go on injured reserve beforehand, and then they pick the NFC team to go.
I dislike all AFC teams that are in it. Again, I like the Commanders. I would like to see the Rams. And like I mentioned either last week or the week before, like I said, I would love to have seen a Rams or a Washington Houston Super Bowl, but obviously that's not going to happen. Probably going to be stretching it a bit, even picking the Commanders at this point. If the Rams somehow pull this off, the Commanders have a chance. Philadelphia is a tough order, especially all these games are going to be played in Philadelphia, regardless if Philadelphia beats the Rams anyway. So that game will be played in Philadelphia. If the Rams win, I'm still watching that game. Still watching the Rams and the Commanders. So we will see what happens later today. Again, Buffalo and Baltimore. I guess, Colin, since the game is in Buffalo, it's usually these two teams, I want to say they're almost like evenly matched somehow. And since it's in Buffalo, probably a coin flip game anyway. Usually these coin flip games, I just go with the home team. I don't know. I still think Josh Allen's overrated. Again, great regular season quarterback, chokes in the playoff. Obviously Lamar Jackson was a 2-time MVP, probably going to win a third this year. Again, great regular season quarterback, chokes in the playoffs. So I don't know. Like I mentioned when you were out there for a sec, I would have loved to seen a Houston-Washington Super Bowl. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. Even if it's even a tall order to pick Washington now, unless maybe the Rams win. But Philadelphia is going to be a tough order for the Rams and or the Commanders if they make it that far. So either way, Colin, I'm cheering for an NFC team in the Super Bowl. I think. Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm probably cheering for an NFC team in the Super Bowl also. The one thing I will say about Philadelphia is we have seen the tendency of that team to look beyond some other teams, and maybe Washington winning was the worst thing possible for that team, for Philadelphia, because they might feel like they have the easy path to the Super Bowl, and they could overlook the Rams, even though the Rams, I mean, they crushed defensively last week. I would be cheering for the Bills if they make it. I would be. That's the only team in the NFC I would be cheering for, or AFC.
Yeah, I would not. I mean, I guess it'd be cool. No, it wouldn't.
No, I'm not cheering for the Ravens.
No. Chiefs, nope.
I mean, those are our choices.
At this point, I'm still cheering for Washington. I know the Rams won not too long ago, but I still like the Rams. I know Philadelphia hasn't won since before that. What was it, 2018 when they won?
BDN, whenever Nick Foles was out there.
Yeah, see? Nick Foles, the Philadelphia special.
Yeah, I'm going for the Rams because I picked them when they were plus 1,000, over 1,000. They were plus 10,000 because I win $1,000 with $10. So yeah,
I picked Washington in an office pool for yesterday.
Oh, nice. I did not see that coming. So I hope that the games today are as good as they were yesterday, even though that Lions and Commanders game did become a blowout. That was a fun first half.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah, I mean, Rams just caught fire at the right time. Everyone thought, Arizona is going to win that division. Oh, Seattle's going to win, and then the Rams just come out of nowhere and just knock everybody else out. They were injured through the regular season. They got Puka back at the right time. Matt Stafford was kind of banged up here and there. He's getting right they just got right at the right time. They got healthy at the right time. They caught fire at the right time. So,
and that's exactly when I put my $10 on them. It was right before that because I was looking. I was like, oh, everyone's back for that squad. So
yeah,
everyone besides Aaron Donald.
Well, he retired. So.
Yeah, I know.
Does he come out of retirement if they make the Super Bowl?
I
think he retired like during his ongoing contract. Is that allowed?
I don't know what the rules are, but I don't think you mess with the juju on the squad by bringing him back.
I mean, I don't think he'd hurt him, but he has. Is he in shape? I don't know. He looks like he can still probably play another 5 years. He looks it. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope it's a great next day or day and a half of football, including the college football national championship that we'll all end up watching, even though we don't have a dog in the fight.
I can honestly say I'll probably forget it's on, Colin. All right, so enjoy the games today. The first game up is the Rams at Philadelphia, and then it'll be Baltimore at Buffalo for rights to go to the NFC and AFC championship game, respectively, to face either the Chiefs and or the Washington Commanders. So we will see what happens there. Again, you mentioned it, national championship tomorrow. I'm a little surprised that Unrivaled picked a Monday night going up against the national championship. I thought they would play today, but again, you're going up. Either way, I think it's a lose-lose situation. You're going up against the NFL, but again, they could have had the games in the morning. I don't know. I'm not the schedule maker, but Unrivaled continues tomorrow as well. Like you mentioned, just about a month away or so from pitchers and catchers reporting. So we will see the Dodgers again, just dishing out more money. Colin, they signed that young dude from
Roku Sasaki.
Yeah, from is it China, Korea,
Japan? I believe it's Japan.
Not one of those.
Neither one that you said. I'm pretty sure it's Japan. He played. Yeah, maybe it is, but yeah, Roku Sasaki. Yeah,
well, he's buddies with
Shohei.
Yeah, with Shohei. So, and then they also just signed a closer that came through this morning. Yeah, they just signed a Tanner Scott, the closer, 4-year, $72 million deal.
Oh man, they're gonna win it again.
Yeah,
I love my Rockies. Man, you got a long way to go, Rockies.
I don't, and they still will not get any of my money this year. Colin, I'm sad that you picked the opening day for your tickets for winning the fantasy league. So technically, I'll be supporting them by getting you tickets. But I'm gonna try to go through. I don't know how much money teams get from third-party sites, but I'm gonna try to go through third parties so they don't see any of it.
But you are still supporting me and me not spending a dime. So
what happened to that?
I'm not.
Yeah, but you'll buy like a beer.
No, I won't.
Okay.
I've been to a bunch of games at Coors Field and I haven't bought any concessions at all. I bought one beer in 3 years for my friend. I've spent $13. I spent $13 in 3 seasons at Coors Field.
That's pretty good. I've spent $0.
I've spent a lot more on the road watching them.
And again, I don't know how much the Rockies will get from going to watch them on the road. I don't know how much money they'll get from third-party ticket sales, but that's the avenue I'm rolling with.
It sounds good, man. I got time. I just had to find a way for me not to spend any money.
Oh, you found the old loophole.
I got a loophole, my man. I got a loophole.
There it is. All right, but that's going to do it for us here on the Wheelhouse. Thank you for tuning in, watching. Don't forget the podcast version will be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music here shortly. And go to our home base, e5280sports.com. Everything is up there as well, blogs, articles. Go check out Pro Wrestling Daily and Between the Lines as well on the front page. And Colin, thank you for once again filling in.
Gladly, my man. Anytime. It was fun.
All right. Once again, this has been the Wheelhouse on Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. For Colin, I am Michael. We will talk to you next week.